Hola, let's talk about some tips and tricks to do well on the AP Spanish Language and Culture exam. Tips to help you excel. So, let's look today at the cultural comparison, which is the presentational speaking section of the exam. You will deliver a 2-minute presentation in response to a prompt where you will compare some kind of cultural feature or topic of a Spanish speaking country with your own community. And this will be 4 minutes of preparation and then 2 minutes of recording. And overall, it is 12.5% of your overall AP score. So let's look at some examples of what you should include. Number one, this may seem obvious, but you really want to make sure to take up that whole 2 minutes, no more nor no less, so that you can show all the language that you can produce and also show all of the examples that you can think of. Number two, when you're actually creating your comparison, you're going to start off with an introduction sentence that fully addresses the prompt and clearly states the countries or communities that you'll compare. So that might be your own community, your own state, your own town, with a Spanish-speaking country or a region in a Spanish-speaking country. After you have that introduction sentence where you have clearly defined what countries you will be comparing, you want to explain 2 to 3 concrete examples of how the topic is similar or different in your home community versus Spanish-speaking countries. And I would suggest alternating between your home community and the Spanish-speaking country. So if you do happen to run out of time, at least you've shown both communities at least once or twice instead of just talking about one side. You want to use varied transitions to compare and contrast and show the similarities and differences between the countries. So you'll see to the right, there's some pocket vocabulary. So for example, por ejemplo, además, en contraste, ambos son o tienen, por un lado, por otro lado. That helps to show that you can level up your language and make it more complex than just simple sentences. When you are thinking about your examples, you want to include products, practices, and perspectives to score a 5. So what this means is you're not going to talk just about products, which are often the things that we eat, look at, such as art, listen to, music, any kinds of actual physical things that we may touch in a culture. But you also want to include practices, what people do, what traditions they might have, such as in Dia de los Muertos, going to the cemetery on Dia de los Muertos. And then last but not least, the more challenging one that shows your deeper understanding, perspectives. So what do people value, or what types of beliefs might people have in a certain community that influence how they live their lives and how they use products and practices in their culture. Last but not least, you want to finish this comparison with a concluding sentence that restates your topic, and if you have time, restates those main ideas that you included as examples. So let's look at this cheat sheet to just reinforce what you need to include. Again, you'll have 4 minutes to read the prompt and prepare your ideas. So underline and make sure you understand the question, because you want to be comparing the right topic before you actually say your ideas. Again, we're starting out with that topic sentence and stating both communities that we will be comparing. You're choosing 2 to 3 transition expressions that you're going to use throughout the piece. So, por un lado, por otro lado, por ejemplo, además. You'll have those with you so you don't get stuck. Remember, you only have 2 minutes, so you want to think of 2 to 3 examples that are concrete and again include products, practices, and perspectives, and not be too vague. Try and be more specific and maybe focus in on one community instead of jumping around too much. Like I just mentioned again, you want those 3 Ps, the products, practices, and perspectives, to score a 5. And then finish with one sentence conclusion, which is basically just rewording the introduction sentence, but you can say, como hemos visto o como he explicado, hay muchas similitudes y diferencias entre blank y blank. Remember that you're comparing your community with a Spanish-speaking community. That community doesn't necessarily need to be the U.S. in general. It can be your state or a little more local than all of the U.S. And remember that the prompt will touch on 1 out of 6 AP themes, and this will be listed at the top of the prompt. So this can help contextualize your ideas before you read the prompt. And last but not least, it is okay to only talk about differences or only similarities, but if you see both, use both. Good luck.